Part of a central Kentucky town was evacuated today after a gas line break. A gas line was hit during construction behind Main Street in Lawrenceburg.
Several hundred people were told to leave businesses, government buildings, and even some homes in the area. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on what caused those problems. It's tonight's top story at 4.
Well, this happened right about the noon hour. There was a remodeling crew that was working on a building's deck when a gas line was cut. Nobody was hurt. There was no explosion and no other significant problems because of that. But as a precaution, they did evacuate the area because that building started filling up with gas.
A construction company had struck a gas line. They actually did the right thing, called Atmos. They beat us on scene.
More than 200 people were evacuated, and Main Street between Court Street and East Woodford was closed after the incident. Firefighters and police blocked off the area after officials said the line was cut. People were told to leave apartments, businesses, and the courthouse.
They just cleared out, so nobody needed a place to go, so we didn't have to assist anybody. So I'm assuming they had their own places to go.
A spokesperson for Atmos Energy says a local elementary school did decide to keep kids inside for recess simply as a precaution. The company says that they did not order that to take place. The school decided to do that on their own. In Anderson County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Well, Atmos Energy officials say the gas line will be retired until the owner of the property is ready for new service.